This is Dr. Watson. Isn't he handsome? Yes, he's so handsome. Yes. Hi, this is Brittany again, and this is Under the Radar Books. Today I'm doing a book haul. It's kind of a big one, so bear with me, but I'll try to be as fast as I can. A lot of these are things that I haven't heard other people talk about, so I'm pretty excited to show you guys what I have. First, I have a short story collection. It is called The Loudest Sound and Nothing by Wigfall. And isn't this beautiful, this book? It has, actually has a dust jacket, but it's paperback, which is really interesting. And underneath is the opposite colors, which I think is really cool. It's by Faber, which they make beautiful books. The characters in Wigfall's stories are all searching for something missing. As they go about their seemingly ordinary lives, the dark undercurrent of life with its complications and imperfections is gradually revealed. But it sounds like they're very whimsical. They're kind of magical realism. Is my favorite thing about short story collections, I think, because they can make them so different, but in such a short time frame. It really is, the author is able to pull off such an odd story. I'm excited to read this one. Next up is Doppler by Erland Loe. And I actually heard about this on Leslie's channel, Words of a Reader, and I will link her down below. It's about this man who basically leaves his life behind and moves to the wilderness. And he doesn't have a job or money, and so he ends up killing a moose to have food. And he doesn't realize that the moose actually has a baby, and so this baby starts following around and he almost like adopts him as a pet. It just sounds really quirky and different and just right up my street. So next up is And a Necessary Woman. I've wanted to read this for a while. I can't remember where I first heard about it, but it's definitely a bookish story, which I love, and if you've been watching my channel, you know that already. The blurb on the back says, a love letter to literature and its power to define who we are. The gifted Alameddine has given us a nuanced rendering of one woman's life in the Middle East. So that sounds really great. It sounds like it's almost historical, about a character who is elderly, and sometimes that can be a little bit unreliable, which I love in a narrator, so this sounds great. Next up is Mr. Fox by Helen Oyeyemi. This has been on my radar for a while. I have quite a few of her books up here, and I have not read her yet, and I don't know where I want to start. But this one just sounds so intriguing. It says, in this book, the celebrated writer Mr. Fox can't stop himself from killing off the heroines in his novels, and neither can his wife, Daphne. It's not until Mary, his muse, comes to life and transforms him from author into subject that his story begins to unfold differently. It just sounds so interesting, and I really want to get to this one soon. Next up is The Last Animal by Geni, I think. And I saw this on Mercedes' channel, Mercy's Bookish Musings. I'll link her channel down below as well. And isn't this cover fantastic? But the short stories in this book are about life and what it takes to be a human. And I think they all interact with an animal in some way, which I think is really beautiful. I personally am an animal lover, and this just sounds amazing, and I want to get to this so badly. So hopefully very soon, maybe next month, I can do this in my wrap-up. Next up is From the Mouth of a Whale by Sjon? I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry. This also is a magical realism book. I saw this on Jen Campbell's channel, and it just sounds so interesting. It says, the year is 1635. Iceland is a world darkened by superstition, poverty, and cruelty. Men of science marvel over a unicorn's horn. Poor folk worship the Virgin in secret, and both books and men are burnt. Next up is Strangers by Taichi Yamada. And this, I believe, is a modern ghost story. I don't really know much about it, and in a lot of cases when I don't know about a book, I just don't even read the blurb or anything. I really like to go into books blind sometimes. I think that makes it a lot of fun. So I just think that the cover just looks eerie, and it just sounds unsettling. So it's pretty short too, so I can probably get to it very quickly. Next up is Girl in the Dark by Lyndsey. This is a nonfiction, a memoir. It is about Anna, who actually develops an allergy to light, an artificial light, and so she ends up in her 20s having to live in the darkness, and she's just kind of starting her life, and she has a boyfriend, and things are kind of taking off for her, and then everything has to stop, and she can only go outside during like dawn and dusk. She can barely do anything. She only listens to audiobooks, and she becomes very depressed and kind of withdrawn, and this is her story and how she overcomes this disease that she gets and just her life. And that sounds so incredibly interesting. I can't wait to get to this one. And I mean, that cover is beautiful. I don't know if you can tell, but the little stars are shiny. They're just really pretty. So, and next up is The Visitors by Rebecca Mascull. And it's funny because I already ordered this, but I actually saw Kirsty on Books. I will link her channel below. She is amazing. I love her book taste. She has so many good recommendations and a lot of things that I haven't heard of. And she actually talked about this in her Unreliable Narrators video, which is something that I personally love. This sounds so interesting. It says, Eliza Golding is a deaf, blind girl born in late Victorian England on her father's hop farm. Her life is one of darkness and confusion. Her only communication is with the ghosts she speaks to in her head, whom she has christened the Visitors. When a young hop picker, Lottie, grabs her hand and starts drawing shapes, Liz can finally interact with the outside world. A tale of friendship, adventure, and love, Rebecca Mascull's debut novel will take you on a journey from Kentish oyster beds and hop gardens to the dusty veldt of Boer War and ultimately the truth about the Visitors. So I think that sounds amazing. Next up is How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe. Isn't this cover great? So fun. It's by Charles Yu. I don't know much about this at all, but I think the blurb is just so riveting. It says, my name is Charles Yu. I'm a time machine repairman. In 1 minute, I'm going to murder myself again. That's all it says on the back. So if you don't want to read that, something's wrong with you. Last but not least is this one, Books Burn Badly by Manuel Rivas. And I know that this is a translated text. I think I heard about this on Chauncey's channel also. And it says, on the 19th of August, 1936, Hercules the boxer stands on the quarry side at Corunna and watches fascist soldiers piling up books and setting them alight. At the same time, a young, carefree group of friends is transformed into a broken generation. Out of this incident during the early months of Spain's tragic civil war, Manuel Rivas weaves a colorful tapestry of stories and unforgettable characters to create a panorama of 20th century Spanish history. For it is not only the lives of Hercules and the boxer and his friends that are tainted by the unending conflict, but also those of a young washerwoman who sees souls in the clouded river and the stammering son of a judge who uncovers his father's hidden library. As the singed pages fly away on a breeze, their stories live on in the minds of their readers. I think that sounds so intriguing. And it's a little bit of a chunker, but I definitely want to get to it soon. Another beautiful cover. So hopefully you guys found some things that you haven't heard of before, some things you want to pick up. Definitely discuss them with me down below. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you're going to buy any of these. And hopefully some of these will be in my next wrap up, which should be coming up pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much for watching. And for everybody who has subscribed and liked my videos, thank you so, so much. It's been such a great experience being a part of this booktube community already. And I can't wait to see where else it goes. So thank you so much and happy reading.